Hi folks, today I thought it'd be a nice day to walk around the property and do a news, updates, thoughts and stuff video. Nice fall day. So our first question that we usually get is, how's the solar working out? And solar works great during the summertime, but during the winter we just don't get quite enough sun to keep it running. We have plenty of trees still to the south, and the sun usually goes up behind the trees, and we do get some light getting blocked. So usually what I recommend to people is if they want to try going off grid, especially up in an area like we are, I don't recommend it. The cloud coverage, we can get a week of clouds without any problem. We just have no storage in our batteries for something that long. We get a day or two at most. So usually what now I recommend to people is to try to grid tie if you want to run solar, sell back all that excess power onto the grid during the summer, and then just sort of supplement while you can over the winter. And then if you have a power failure, have your system run off of a battery backup system and have that last for an hour or so, and then probably have a generator if you're going to have extended periods of outages. For the cost of doing the batteries, it really just isn't worth the expense when you can get a fairly cheap generator for a few $100s. So unfortunately, being off-grid isn't something that I'd recommend from an economical standpoint. Heard the equipment up here last night, so they must have been cutting corn in our back field here. They did get a start cutting the corn. Got the first few rows in and probably got too dark for them. You can see here that this is some of the silage. It's just the corn that's run through basically a big shredder and blown into a bin and is trucked over to my cousin's dairy farm. Corn grows about 8 or 9 feet high. Looks like regular corn. Cow corn. It's not sweet, so it's nothing that anybody wants to eat. Even the raccoons, they'll come in for it, but they really come to our garden and get the sweet corn. I would definitely have to say that the maple trees have the most beautiful foliage on them. Bright orange with some green and yellow, it's all mixed together. Over here on the side of the fields, get the milkweeds. Really silky fine seeds that come out of them. Let them go and they fly away. Pods are pretty cool. Just these big pods, and then when they dry out they finally explode into this big bundle of these things. Oh, and there's the chopper. I knew it was around here somewhere. It was pretty late last night, so we must have ran out of light and gave up, and they'll be back later. Here in Connecticut, hunting season has started. Here's one of the tree stands that's used for deer hunting. During the deer season, they allow for bow, crossbow, shotgun, muzzleloader, and rifle up until the end of the year. So a lot of people ask, do you actually read through all the comments and questions that you get on YouTube and Facebook? And the answer is, I get through most of them. The biggest problem I had originally last year was with the YouTube Google Plus merger. It was really difficult to find all the questions, and they finally listened to everybody screaming at them about being able to see all the questions. So now they have a nice summary page where I can go through and look at everything. Usually I'll respond to the questions where people have asked something that will help to benefit everybody else. You know, we do have to do a little bit of troll hunting and keep the trolls off the pages, get some really stupid things posted once in a while, but for the most part we get some really nice questions, so I like to try to answer them the best I can. And if somebody asks a question that's been repeated a few times, usually I'll just post a link to one of our other videos, or if it's something that's blatantly obvious, I'll just not respond. I can't respond to everything, but I try to at least. We haven't had a lot of rainfall this year, so the brook is very low. A lot of rocks are just exposed. Makes it easy to walk right into the riverbed though. I got a lot of the old timers around here. When they see me, they'll ask, are those mound ants still around? Back when they were kids, they used to wander around here and find them. So these ants have been here a long time, at least 60, 70, 80 years. Probably thousands, all in the same spot. As you can see, there's no trees or anything growing right where they are. They just take out all the vegetation. Back here along the river, on the other side, which is Ashford, we're on Eastford, so this is also the town line. We border against the Yale Myers Forest, which is of course owned by Yale and their School of Forestry. There's a lot of studies out here, so we see a lot of students around, and a few years ago they volunteered and did a study on our property to help come up with plans to better manage it and keep it as open space. So they're really nice neighbors to have. They have a few thousand acres of land. Not a lot of flow through the river here. Not a very good option for a hydropower plant. We have this neat little island in the middle of the river here. Really only accessible when you have a few rocks to hop over. While I'm out here, I want to remind you that we have a newsletter that we email out a few times a year, and it's basically a summary of everything that we've been working on over the past few months, finding that we don't get to everybody through Facebook or Google+. They don't seem to post everything. I think we're at about a 25 to 20% view rate on those posts. So we like to email that newsletter out to everybody. So I encourage you to go to our website and sign up for that. You can fill out the contact form, or you can just simply send us an email at info@bigelowbrook.com and we'll add you to our newsletter. Last year, you might recall, I tried to catch some minnows to put in our system. They are in the brook here. I just wasn't able to catch them, and I didn't try again this year either. And these things dancing around the water surface are water striders, and they're able to basically walk on top of the water with their feet, and the surface tension keeps them up. Downstream, the beavers have built a dam, so the whole brook just sort of ponds up. Even the leaves on poison ivy change color in the fall. Leaves of 3, leave them be. There are trail cams hidden all over our property. Every so often we catch a deer and other types of animals coming through. Every so often somebody who shouldn't be on our property hunting. So they do come in quite handy. So as I got ready for our next question, I realized that my paper fell out of my pocket somewhere, and now I can't remember what they all are. One of the questions was about slowing down our greenhouse over the winter, and what temperatures do we let it go down to so that the bacteria can continue doing their thing of breaking the ammonia down to nitrites and nitrates. So during the winter, we do let the system get down. Water temperature usually goes down to around 50. And with testing the water over the winter, we haven't really seen a noticeable change with the nitrate levels. So getting down to 50 has not been a problem. I do have some friends that actually let their system get a lot colder during the winter. So must be a bunch of different varieties of bacteria that can thrive in different temperature conditions. So it hasn't really been a problem for us to essentially slow down the system over the winter time. We also do slow down the fish feeding a lot too, mainly because the metabolism of the fish slows way down with the water temperature. At about 50 degrees or so, we notice that the koi basically stop swimming around a lot and hang out near the bottom of the tank waiting for spring. So usually I'll try to bump the temperature up to around 55 or so. That gets them going again a little bit. So between 50 and 55 seems to be our borderline for how we want to run our system. Coming up to the top of the highest point in our area. This is known as Buell Hill. A lot of the hills were named back in the day when USGS was surveying all the land, and essentially they would name a hill after whatever family owned the property at the time, and this was owned by one of my relatives, the Buells, so thus Buell Hill. This field has clover and alfalfa growing in it. It's already had 2 cuts so far this year, and most likely they'll finish it up and cut off one more before the winter really sets in. Another tree stand right at the edge of the field here. The deer like to come into the field and eat the timothy and clover during the winter, and then they wander right down past this tree stand. Makes it fairly easy. Last year they got, I think, 8 or 9 deer off of here, and it does not make a dent in the population. There's just so much deer in the area. They really just pick the biggest and the best deer out of the herds. So basically no impact at all on the population. Not much traffic on our road here. It's just at the end of grape season. You get the wild Concord grapes and a few other odd wild varieties growing around here. They're actually very tasty, even though they have some seeds in them still. Very good grapes. So this field has already been cut. The hay is baled and put into these round bales, wrapped in plastic, where they can ferment in here. So that's about it for your tour today. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. A lot of good stuff in there that I don't always cover in the videos or in Facebook or Google+. So just drop me an email at info@bigelowbrook.com and we'll be sure to add you to our mailing list. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you this winter.